Hello, my Crystal Loves Texas podcast family. Hello, Rebecca Williams.
Hello, hey everybody.
She looks so festive today. It should be a holiday. She said, "Well, Crystal, how come you got on your festive clothes?" I said, "Rebecca, I have one of these in like every color because they're so comfortable to wear, especially at school." But Rebecca Williams, we are still in the throes of this debacle that's going on in higher education and secondary and primary education in the state of Texas. And one of the things that we are so passionate about here, because we are both teachers, is the ongoing drama of the voucher fight in Texas, or better known to some as school choice. That's a really pretty way to kind of wrap up that present to make it a little bit more palatable.
So let me before we go into that, Crystal,
Mhm.
let me just once again tell our viewers that school choice is the same thing as vouchers. As I said once before on a podcast a couple of weeks ago, we have school choice in Texas. We've had school choice for many, many years now.
Yes.
Okay, so our school choice goes as follows. If the public school option is just not for you, well, let me start. If you want a different type of public school for your child, I know in the district that I teach in, Houston Independent School District,
Mhm.
you can go to the magnet schools.
Absolutely.
Okay, magnets or special unique schools.
Right.
Okay, if you don't want to deal with the public schools altogether, then you have the private school option.
Absolutely.
Then, if you don't want to have the private school option, you have another public option. You have the charter option.
Absolutely.
So then, if you don't want any of those options, your child still has to go to school somewhere. You have the homeschool option.
So you got choices.
So
out
you
the
have
wazoo.
choices.
Yes.
Please do not mistake choice as you've all. If you live in the state of Texas, you've been having these choices for a while now.
Absolutely, especially in the larger school districts.
Exactly.
Yes. And there's a reason why we entitled this particular episode "It's Not Over Till It's Over," because we believe that there are still some very passionate people in our rural counties who are very much standing strong on their principle of knowing that vouchers are not going to be good for public schools. And when it comes to smaller towns and smaller municipalities in Texas, where the entire municipality, a very large part of it, centers around the school.
Exactly.
It's not going to be a good option for that, because it's going to be taking money away from those schools.
Right.
And Rebecca, there is a group that has been they have so eloquently put together this battery of reasons why vouchers in Texas are not going to be a positive thing, and we're going to share those with you today. Now, what we do want to do is have this disclaimer and mention it, because it says we do not necessarily share the views of the name for this group. Okay, we may share them and then we may not. but this is an independent group that put this together. But we're going to share these because we really like the way that they have really capsulized the problems that we can foresee with adoption of vouchers in Texas. And the name of this group, what's the name of this group, Rebecca?
Mothers Against Greg Abbott.
Yes.
MAGA.
And when we were looking at that acronym, we were like, oh my goodness, look at that acronym. But it is
It's their-
a different kind of,
It's their own version of MAGA.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So before we get started, I also want to have this, I also want to say that the majority of Texans, rural, suburban, inner city, the majority of Texans do not want this voucher.
Over 60%.
Yeah,
Yes.
do not
Over
want this
60%.
voucher. So much so that Texans are begging that they put the voucher referendum
Yes.
on the ballot.
On a ballot.
And let's just say the powers that be does not want that to happen.
But you know what? On the way over here today, Rebecca, I was thinking about something. And if we've come to the point in our state where legislators and lawmakers are so headstrong on doing what they think they want to do to appease a certain group or certain people, certain powers that be, that they will vote against what's in the best interest of their own constituents. Well, you know what? Is that what's called a nail in the coffin?
It could be.
No, I think it absolutely will be. If we find out the people that we're talking about in these rural counties, these people vote every time in every election. And if they feel that they've been ignored or a deaf ear and a blind eye has been turned towards them when it comes to uh, honoring their wishes, they will vote you out.
Yeah, you will pay a
So,
price.
so if,
Definitely pay
and
a
you know,
price.
that's something that
You'll pay a political price.
not meeting with your constituents when they come up to meet with you at your office in Austin and not allowing them to come, I mean, just avoiding them,
Right.
avoiding them. That sends a strong message. It sends a strong message. In a contrast, Rebecca, when we went to visit our constituents, did everyone that we went to come out to talk to us?
Everyone.
And some of them, we didn't even have an appointment. And some of them came, our senator came out and he just sat down on the bench right outside of his office. And, you know, we sat there and we talked for a little while. And he said, will you tell me what's on your mind? How are you guys feeling about this? And we absolutely probably gave him an earful, but we know that we stand in solidarity with him
Right.
as far as what is going on with these vouchers.
Let me say this too as a
Yes.
disclaimer, that anytime you have a politician, and I don't care what side of the aisle they sit on,
Mhm.
okay, let me just say that. And
Yes.
for the people that know me know that I'm an extreme party loyalist.
Okay.
So let me say this. I don't care what side of the aisle they sit on. If they sit on my side of the aisle or the other side of the aisle.
Okay.
When you vote people into office, you have given them the job. Campaigning season is their interview for the job.
That's right.
Once you go to the ballot to say, you are like HR, right? So once you go to the ballot and say, this is my choice for the person at in this position, this is my choice, you have hired them for a job that they interviewed for months and months at a time. They do not get to sit and rest on their laurels and say, I don't want to talk to you. That's not an option.
That's right.
Okay. They may not like what you have to say, but you gave them a job that they told you that they wanted.
That's right.
So since you have
In good faith.
So none of them have the audacity or the mitigated gall to tell you, I don't want to meet with you. I don't want to talk to you, because you gave them the job. And just like you gave them the job, you have the power to take that job.
And please, please, please remember that. Please remember, like we said the last time, those people that you put in office, they don't work for any governor. They don't work for any attorney general.
Right.
They work for you. You put them there and you can take them out if they are not looking out for your best interest.
Exactly. I just want to make that clear.
That's absolutely right. And I thought it was absolutely, and really, Rebecca, it's happening all over the country. I thought it was absolutely insulting when when certain lawmakers would not come out and talk to their constituents. It's insulting.
And it felt like a lot of the voters felt helpless, right? So that's why I came and I mentioned that you gave them the job. You hired them to represent you in government to make laws on your behalf. And if they don't have the responsibility to do that, you have the responsibility to fire them.
That's right. And you know, there's a famous person in politics, and that's their favorite word. You're fired. Fire them. Fire them. And that time is coming up where you have the ability to fire them.
Yes.
Okay. And Anyway, with that in mind, we're going to get to some of these statements that this particular political action committee, this PAC group, um, actually stated, and we just want you to know what those are. The first one, voucher fact number one: private school vouchers do not save taxpayers money. Fewer students do not decrease operating costs for school districts, and maintenance and operation. It does increase the amount of money the public schools have available in their budget. Vouchers often result in multi-million dollar deficits and tax increases.
Mhm.
So that is we're debunking that myth. Vouchers do not save taxpayers money.
Right, and I'm glad they debunked that myth simply because it has been stated
Right.
time and time again. Oh, the vouchers will cut your taxes.
No.
No. How are the vouchers going to cut your taxes when property taxes pay, and that's the tax that they're speaking of.
Right.
Property taxes pay for public education.
Yes.
So if property taxes are not being paid for, how are they going to cut your taxes? It doesn't make any sense. That math don't matter.
And that's right. That's right, Rebecca. And the thing about it is, you know, when some of these lawmakers looked at, first of all, before we've had other types of laws that have been put onto the books in Texas that lawmakers were afraid to set forth a referendum and let people vote on it.
Right.
And that's that's one of those things that will come back to bite people in the rear end, because because if your constituents, excuse me, have repeatedly told you that they are not for something,
Right.
and you slap them in the face
Right.
and vote for it anyway, you don't deserve to have that job.
Right. And then why not just put the referendum on the ballot?
Because
Why? Why? If you are so confident that vouchers are going to work
that's right.
and Texans are going to go for it, why not put the referendum on the ballot? There's nothing stopping you, even now, from putting it on the ballot because it's passed in the House, in the Senate, but they haven't voted for it in the House. You can stop it right now and say, you know what? We're going to pull this item agenda and we're going to put it on the ballot for the November election.
There you go. Will it happen?
Of course not.
It's not going to happen.
Or have a special election for it.
That's right. And here's the issue, Rebecca. When our lawmakers know that we are not for something and we are vehemently against it, they, for whatever reason, decide to take our choice away.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's gonna be something very interesting.
Are you okay, Crystal?
My allergies are getting the best of me, but you know how that is, Rebecca. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, and I got these kind of out of order, guys, but I will make sure that
I think the information is most important.
yeah, the information is most important. Next one. Go ahead and read that, Rebecca.
If I can read, kind of blind. Private school vouchers do not serve or support students with special needs or disabilities.
Wow.
They are not required to follow a student IEP, which is an individual educational plan. That's one thing that I've been seeing all along. With private schools do not have to serve special ed students. Why? Because they're not receiving public funding. Okay? But here's the caveat though. With the vouchers is still funding from the state, right? I want y'all to hear what I'm saying. The vouchers is still funding from the state.
Right.
So that is public dollars that will be earmarked for private schools. Well, according to Texas state education laws, that if you are receiving public money from either the state or federal government, you have to service special ed students.
And again, Rebecca, like we were saying last week in regards to that, things that people have come to take for granted.
Right.
We've come to take for granted that if your child needs to be diagnosed and you have a feeling or a suspicion that your child may be struggling in a certain area, we have come to take for granted that that will happen in that public school and that student will be diagnosed, whether it be dyslexia, whether it be any other type of special ADHD, any other type of special services that that student may need.
Mhm.
That has been something that we are accustomed to having that be something where it's that student is serviced in a public school and they begin services to directly impact that student on an individual plan, hence the individual education plan.
Right. So what are we saying? We are saying, how is it that private schools already at the onset do not have to take special ed kids? Right. And that's their right because they don't take public dollars. So they can say, no, we don't want your special ed baby here.
But when they do start taking public dollars, then all that switches.
Does it?
No, that's what I'm saying. Certainly, all that has to switch if they start taking public dollars. And if it doesn't, you need to call them on it.
Right.
Yeah. You need to call them on it. So, there's nothing wrong with having letters sitting on your lawmaker's table, with having calls in. If you've got a call every day, make them know how you feel and let them know that you're not going anywhere. We're going to try to get onto this podcast, and she may have to come in virtually, but we're going to try to get the legislator that we spoke to when we were down in Austin to come on and tell us
more than what
at this point, we want to know what we as teachers and parents, taxpayers can do to make sure. I think I'm allergic to my office. I think I am. To make sure that
Crystal, is that what I mean?
to make sure that we can make our voices heard. You said it's in November?
The voting is actually this summer, late summer. So we're looking at, because special session ends June 1st.
Okay.
So I don't think they start voting. The House doesn't start voting until after that.
So we've got approximately 2 months to kick up as much sand as we can. And we need to kick this sand up in the media. Guys, we need to go grassroots with this. We need to share podcasts like this. We need to share all types of radio talk shows. We need to share clips of when our legislators, Representative Talarico and others, are making statements. And it needs to go viral via social media.
Yeah.
Social media is powerful. Make sure that our voices are heard. And not only, Rebecca, do our voices need to be heard around the state, they need to be heard all over the country, because it's my understanding that this type of system, it's going to be an attempt to duplicate this.
Well, they already are. They're using the Arizona model, and if you hear,
and it's failing terribly.
Right. That's what I was getting ready to say. They're using the Arizona model, and so many parents are complaining that their schools, their neighborhood schools,
right?
I think in Arizona, wherever your school was in your neighborhood, that's where you went to school. They didn't have all of these extra options other than
right
like private school and then maybe a homeschool. That was the only option.
Yes.
So. But you went to school wherever you went to your neighborhood school. So wherever you were zoned to, that's where you went to school.
Exactly.
But now that they have the voucher system, it has totally eroded their public schools.
Yes.
Teachers have lost jobs. Janitors have lost jobs. Bus drivers have lost jobs. Paraprofessionals have lost jobs.
Right.
So, do we really want to duplicate Arizona?
And the thing about it is, let me tell you, the arrogance and the attitudes of people pushing this forward. They know that this may be something that is going to be dead in the water as far as a long-term situation. But this is basically the attitude. If we push this through and get it through this term, then even if this is our last term to be here for, for a while, we'll dismantle the public education system to the point that it's so difficult to put it back together and to make it to where it's viable again, that we're leaving our mark that way.
Right.
And to me, that's done in mean spirit.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
Of
that's just
course.
done in mean spirit. But you can always resurrect something that needs to be resurrected if you want to and if you need to. Here's the third thing we want you to consider. Private school vouchers do not improve academic achievement. In most states, it has led to declines in academic achievement. How about that? And that's really something, because wasn't that supposed to be the entire gist
The
of
premise of it.
of public school vouchers anyway, to put them on a more level playing field with private schools? And obviously, facts have shown that it's not happening.
Right, because how can you? Because it's not only about what teachers teach in the classroom, right? That's why it's called an education system,
Right.
right? Because it involves more than just what you learn in the classroom. It also has to deal with vendors and
Mhm.
bills and money,
Right.
money, right? So if you extract resources, which is money for the most part, because the money pays for the academic resources, it pays for the extracurricular resources. You extract all of that away, then what do you have? You have school systems that are struggling to stay afloat.
Right.
You have districts here that are struggling to stay afloat.
Right.
That's why Houston Independent School District was called a Robin Hood district.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know what the term Robin Hood means, it means that because HISD was a very wealthy district, they had to distribute money to less fortunate or poor
Districts that are struggling.
yeah, with money, right? But HISD is hurting in money right now.
Yeah.
They're hurting badly in money right now.
So much has happened in HISD within the past couple of years, then they've lost so many students as a result of it.
And because of
Yeah.
that declined enrollment, and we all know as teachers, I don't care where you work, what district you work in, every time, and I know parents are probably going to be real upset when I say this, but parents, this is the truth. This is how your education system is set up in America. When your student leaves that school, that's a check that's walking out the door.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of parents get upset when I say that, but that's just what it is, right? All of these children accrue money. So let me break that down a little further.
Uh-huh.
So you have 30 kids in the classroom, right? Here per diem, okay, this is what the student is worth per diem, right? You have $6,000 per child.
Per year.
Per year.
Yes.
So this is why
that's not very much.
Right.
And that's not very much.
Now from what I read in the Houston Chronicle, Houston Independent School District went from 191,000 children at the start of the pandemic.
Right.
Now they're down to 161,000.
Right.
And that's even trickling down.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So you multiply 161,000 times 6,000, that's how much HISD is accumulating with all of those children. Okay. But the less children that show up, this is why ADA is important, right? For those of you that know ADA, that's where teachers have to take mandatory attendance
at a certain time
at 10:30.
Right.
Why? Because that number, and every teacher has to do, you will get written up in any school district if you do not take attendance at 10:30.
Right.
Because that attendance is recorded to the state, and that is money for that particular school.
That's your official count.
That's your official count, and those dollars circulate through that count.
And so let's roll it back around to that private school vouchers increasing student achievement. This is another thing that Arizona said that happened. So we spoke about this last week, Rebecca. There are private schools in Houston who are not about to take anyone who walks through the door who has a voucher. Let's just be clear.
Right.
That's because private schools are very selective in who they take. They are.
And there's one private
Yeah.
school here that I know for sure they are K through 8. So that's kindergarten through 8th grade.
Mhm.
So it's an elementary, middle school
Right.
hybrid together. That school starts out at $45,000 a year.
Right. More expensive than some state colleges and universities.
We're talking pre-K, 45 grand.
Right.
Now just imagine that child, one child,
Yeah.
45 grand. So just imagine K through 8, $45,000.
And let's circle it back around. Point being made that they take who they want to take.
Exactly.
So let's say hypothetically this voucher system is passed and we are in January of 2026, okay? And we have several people who have come out of public school who want to go into private school, not knowing the real ins and outs of how private schools pick their people, okay? But because those schools can be very selective in who they bring in. And if you do not fit the mold of who of what they want their school to represent, I'm sorry, they don't have to give you a reason. You just don't fit with our idea of what we want our school to represent or who we want to represent our school. So therefore, you got this voucher and you're out there with this voucher. Well, guess what? Somebody wants to take that money, right?
Right.
So you get a whole lot of fly by night, pop up private schools coming out of nowhere.
Right.
With no track record, with no record of excellence that are coming up, who'll say, well, gosh, we'll take that voucher.
Mhm.
We'll take it. And look at what the system has turned into. It hasn't turned into something that is meant to increase the performance of students who may have been underserved. Not at all.
Right. Of course not.
But that is the kind of thing that happens. People don't think about that. But who's going to leave that money on the table? Somebody's going to come in and fill that void.
Right.
And it may be someone unscrupulous. Okay? Keep that in mind. Okay, Rebecca, go for it.
Okay. Private school vouchers do not serve or we did this one.
Oh, we did this one? Okay, hang on. Hang on. Oh, here we go.
Oh, private school vouchers do not serve low income students because of the cost and fees of their school. School fees are often higher than the amount of the voucher.
Oh, gosh. We talked about that before. So if you get a voucher for $10,000, Rebecca, and the school is $35,000 or $30,000, where is that parent supposed to get the additional $20,000 in order for their student to attend? That's just the tuition. Then books have to be purchased. Now, it's not like public school. Books have to be purchased for private school. Uniforms, transportation.
Oh, private schools don't offer buses.
They do, but you got to pay for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I rode the bus to school, but my mother had to pay for that every month, and uniforms. And they have uniform stores where they go and get where you have to go and get certain uniforms, and those uniforms are very expensive. You have got, the books are very expensive, and the thing about it is they change just like in some universities, they change the volume of that book every year.
Right.
So that they don't want you to buy a book for someone who had the book the year before.
Right.
They want you to go and purchase another book, because I'm sure there may be some kind of kickback in that. But
Extracurricular
it's
activity.
not meant, the whole premise of the private school ideology is that it's not meant for something to be something that everyone is going to be able to access, and therefore that they can say things and do things that um, is only going to be privy to certain people.
Right.
Good, bad, or ugly. Good, bad, or ugly. It is what it is.
But if you have the private charters,
Yeah. If you have the private charters. But what did they say when we were down in Austin? The representatives, I think it was Representative Tallarico, who said this about when they want to keep certain children out of schools, or the children that do not fit the how did he put that? They didn't fit the picture uh, of what our school represents.
Mhm.
He used a very good term for it, and it was politically correct. They didn't fit the picture of what our school represents. Therefore, we are declining to admit your student
Right.
into our school. So think about this. What if you've got a school out there that
they don't fit the vision of
the
what-
vision, the
that's what we
vision
said.
of, yes, the vision of our school. But here's the thing. What if you've interviewed at 5 different schools and your student doesn't fit that vision? You still holding this voucher. So what do you do with that voucher? Do you pass it on to someone else? Is it transferable? Does it go back into the pool?
Or do you go to one of the private charters?
Or do you go to a private charter school? Now, again, that's almost the exact same thing as because we have a very good friend who is a principal at a private charter, and he will tell you this in a second, that we can accept or deny entry to anyone that we want to, for any reason that we want to.
Yeah.
And that is, and guys, we're not bashing private schools. We're not private school bashing, but we're saying that this these things in themselves are the reasons why students should be able to get an A number one education in a public school situation and setting, because access to certain things should not be limited to what someone wants you to have.
Right. And also too, everything is not for everybody,
That's right.
unfortunately. That's just how life operates, right? And why not fund the schools that are already in operation? Right?
You're not reinventing the wheel.
Right. If you just fund the schools that are already in operation and make those schools better,
Yes.
and put the resources in those schools can flourish.
Yes.
What is not being said is how in Texas, and Crystal and I kind of talked about this before we got on the air, Texas, along with other southern states, but I know specifically we're speaking about Texas.
Right.
Texas has cut back on education. And what I mean by that, they have cut educational funding since the early 90s when I was in kindergarten.
Right.
Okay? They have been cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting.
Yeah.
And using these cheap ploys to band-aid problems that can simply be fixed with money.
Right.
Right?
Right.
They have done everything in their power to make improvements, except the one thing that we know would make the improvement: put money behind it. If Texas would just put money into their public schools and stop being cheap, okay? If they will put money into their and fund their public schools properly,
Right.
there is no way Texas shouldn't be one or two in education.
And Rebecca, let's circle back around to this, if you will. What percentage You know, to say that Texas public schools are the pits, that they are just not what they need to be, they are subpar, below standard. You know, first of all, that's relative. Okay, that's relative to what you're comparing it with. But that's a slap in the face of every educated, successful Texan who has served their country, served their state, and is still doing so anywhere in the world, because 90 plus percent of all of our successful Texans, of all Texans, are the products of public school. So they must be doing something right.
Again, if you stop being cheap, you know, everybody keeps harping on the fact that Texas is 43rd in education. Okay.
Right.
So, and I hate to go back to parties with this because I know you don't really like the party discussion.
I
But
don't mind.
one
It is what it is.
one party has been in power over education since 1992. It is currently 2025, and these people are still in power. So, if there is a problem with the educational system in this state,
It falls up on the shoulders of who?
isn't that a you problem? The leaders of the state of Texas, who's been
Seems that way to me.
making the decisions since 1992, you are placing blame on everybody but you. You set the standards, you set the curriculum, you set the laws. You did all of this, right? Texas Education Agency set all of these policies, they've set everything. So if Texas school is a failure, then that means that's a referendum on your leadership.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And Rebecca, I'm going to make sure that I'm trying my best because I got these a little bit out of order. But let's go up and see that.
We just did that.
Yes,
That one too.
that one. I think there's a. Oh, here we go. Go ahead. Oh, I'll do this one.
Okay.
Fact number one. Oh, we did that one, didn't we? Saving taxpayers' money. It does not save taxpayers' money. It costs taxpayers' money. Okay, that's the first one we did. 7. Okay, here we.
No, we did that one.
Yeah, we did that one. This must be the one that we are missing.
Oh,
Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
Private school vouchers do not offer a real choice.
We talked about that at the beginning of the show, right?
Right.
What choice means.
Private school choice, private schools choice, I'm
Choose.
sorry, private schools choose, y'all, I promise I can read. Private schools choose which students are allowed to attend their schools.
Right.
They can accept vouchers, but still reject students with the vouchers. They do not accept all students.
They sure don't, and they don't have to.
Right.
Yes. And Rebecca, I will say this, with that in mind, let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk a little bit about that because when we were in Austin, when we were in Austin, what some of the state representatives were saying, and they were very, very passionate about this.
Yeah.
They were very passionate about this. What they were saying is that so many of, because a bill of goods has been fed to a lot of these parents. A lot of these parents who really have not, they don't know to do the homework. A lot of them have been told that you're going to have a choice, and they're thinking the most prestigious school in town. My child is going to get to go to the most prestigious school in town, and that is not the case. Am I right?
Yeah, no.
Why is that?
Because a lot of these vouchers don't cover the cost of these most prestigious schools. And I'm gonna tell you why. And you can Google this. The top 5 private schools in Houston,
Yes.
all are $40,000 plus.
Yes.
The 5 top private schools in Houston,
Right.
are all $40,000 plus.
And
if your voucher is even $12,000, that still won't be enough, because he did say that what he was going to do was raise the voucher money, because everybody was saying $10,000 wasn't going to be enough. So I think he said that he was going to raise the vouchers up to $12,000.
oh, $2,000. Wow,
And
that's
that's
gonna
still
make
not
up the
enough.
difference, right? Absolutely, it's not enough. Absolutely, it's not enough. So where. So this is my comment, Rebecca. Where do parents go from here? Where do they go from here? And and parents, what we're trying to say is that we want you to be in solidarity with us. We are not saying this to try to keep your child from having the best education. We're saying this because we want to ensure that any type of career field or school that your child would like to get into, that is going to be an option via the public schools, where you don't have to wonder whether or not your child is being treated fairly. Wonder whether or not you're going to be able to keep your child in this school. Will I get the voucher next year?
Right. Also, you have to look past K through 12. And I thought about this. I don't think nobody has brought this out.
What's that?
When you have schools like Harvard University and the University of Texas,
Yeah.
that are saying, okay, if your child, if you make less than $100,000 a year,
Yes.
then you'll have free tuition. Or if you make less than $150,000, I mean, if you make less than $200,000 a year
Yeah.
at Harvard, you have free tuition.
Yeah.
If you are University of Texas and you make less than $150,000 a year, you have free tuition.
Right.
Like, those top schools are going to look for public school children first.
Yes, they are.
And see, I don't think that's talked about. So here you are thinking, oh my God, my child will finally get into the top colleges. And do you not know that the top colleges are going to be looking for public school attendees?
That's right.
First, they're going to get the first priority, right? It's going to be the legacies first, and then the public schools. So if your child is sitting in these private schools and they thinking that this is a gateway to the Ivy Leagues, or they thinking this is a gateway to the Big 10 or the Big 12, understand that you are also doing your child a disservice further down the line, because they will not be looked at first. They're not going to be first dibs.
And you know what, Rebecca? I didn't even realize this, but because a lot of universities were who accept federal funds were in a situation where they had to roll back on their DEI services. They decided that they're no longer going to do legacies.
Oh, okay.
They decided they're no longer going to do that because they want to even that playing field as much as they can, even though that particular aspect was taken away from them.
Right, because legacy got first dibs.
That's right.
Always. And I'm glad you brought that to my attention.
They did.
Wow.
And I just had to tip my hat to them, because they're saying, regardless of what is trying to be done to stifle people from being able to go forward, we're going to step forward, and this is our way to work around that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is what we're saying, parents. This is a setup for a failure for you. Seriously. And we all know that parents want the best for their children. I don't think there's not one parent alive who don't want their children to have the best of the best.
Right.
But understand, you could be cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Yes.
Right? So, the whole reason you put your children in private school or the best schools or whatever, is so that they could have a leg up in life.
Yes.
Right? But if your child is going to these private schools as a gateway to the Ivies, to the Big 10, to the Big 12, they're not going to get looked at, because they're going to look at all the public schools first.
And guess what else, Rebecca? I didn't even realize this. A lot of the well, you just said it. A lot of the public universities, and I mean the elite public universities in the country, are giving to high achievers. They're giving the free tuition, not just in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
you know. And so where we have got entities that are trying to push against um, fair education for everyone, we have the universities and the colleges, even the ones held in the most high regard, are pushing back,
Yeah.
saying we want to make sure if the United States government under the administration that may be in power is not going to make sure that this happens, we're going to make sure that this happens in this way.
Right. So what we're saying, guys, that the truth is not being told, right? They're selling you, my dad was in finance for 30 years, right?
Right.
And one of the things, he always tries to be on the up and up. But he always told me anytime anybody's giving you all of these selling points to sell you something, you also have to look at the negative points, right? What are they not saying? What are they not telling you? Yeah, this product does this and this and this, and this service does this and this and this. But what is it?
What's the side effect?
What is the side effect? What is it not doing? What am I losing? What am I not getting? Right? Anytime somebody is trying to push something off on you, they're going to market the best things about the product. They are definitely going to market it. They're going to make it seem beautiful that you have to have it, right? But they're not going to tell you that that shampoo is going to take out your hair in 3 weeks. They're not going to tell you that that weight loss product is also going to make you sick to the point that you're throwing up at night. Like, no, their whole job is to sell you on the benefits of it, right?
And more and let's be really clear and bring it down to the least common denominator, Rebecca. What we're saying is that they're not going to tell you that if you get this voucher and your child shows up at that school for the interview, because they interview,
Right.
For that interview, and they don't look the way, they're not kept the way that those people at that private school feel that children should look. Their hairstyle is not commensurate to what the hairstyles of the kids at that school should look like. They're not the weight that they feel that the kids should be. Any of those things to certain places are going to be reasons that they can reject someone.
Right.
If your child happens to be gender nonconforming, oh my goodness.
And parents, I get it.
Yeah.
Right? I get it. A lot of you all are fed up with the public schools. I get it. I get it. I get it. I hear it all the time, unfortunately.
But Rebecca, what can tell me if I'm wrong? They are fed up. But aren't there some things that we as a community, as teachers, as parents,
That's what I was
can
getting ready
get together?
Right.
That's
That's
new.
that's what I was getting ready. Like I understand your frustration with the
Right.
public school. Crystal and I are public school educators, and we have been doing this a long time. We didn't get in the classroom yesterday.
Right.
We've been there a long time, so we understand what your Damien's in.
Oh, good. There's Damien.
We understand what your complaints are. We understand what the issues are. We understand it all.
Yes.
Right? But you guys are not helpless. And what I'm
That's right.
saying is if you get involved in your child's schooling and education, you don't like the teachers, you don't like don't look at me like that.
Yeah. You don't
You
like
don't
the teachers, you don't like the administration,
you don't like the administration, you don't like
yeah.
the teaching, you don't like what's on the curriculum, you don't like the non-diversity, you don't there are things that you can do, parents, within that to change the culture
Right.
of your school community.
Absolutely.
Right? You can make your school community as successful as you want it to.
Absolutely.
Right? But you have to take the time to talk to your representatives,
Right.
talk to your school board. And then if you're in a situation like HISD, oh God, I get it. Right?
Yeah.
So there are things that you can still do.
Yes.
To change the trajectory of your school's community.
Do not feel that you're helpless, and whatever you do, do not lay down. Okay?
Right.
Yeah.
Parents, you can be involved in the SDMC. Crystal and I have both sat on SDMCs at our respective campuses. SDMC is the Shared Decision Making Committee. You can sit on the SDMC.
Petition to your state board of education.
To your school board, right? You can there are things that you can do. You can be an active participant in campaigning for better school board members.
Right. You can run for school board.
You can run for school board. There are things that you can do to change the trajectory of your public school if you're not happy with it. It's a community effort. One of the biggest problems, and Crystal and I and all other educators, we've talked about this so many times. One of the biggest problems in education is the lack of parents being involved. Not everywhere, because some people have parent involvement through the roof. But you have a lot of areas of towns where parents are just not involved. And if you take the time to get involved, you can make your school community better than a private school.
And with that in mind, Rebecca, you said something very interesting. You said changing the trajectory of where students are going. The gentleman that's coming on next, we're going to switch gears a little bit.
Okay.
And this is going to be more positive. But the gentleman that's coming on next, he is, wow, is he a gentleman who can speak to change in trajectory? Am I right?
Yeah.
And he's going to come on and tell us a little bit about something that he's got going on, that he's involved with, that you may want to link into. And I am going to bring him on right now. And he is none other than Damian Walker with Cognitive Justice. Hey,
Hey,
Damian.
how y'all doing? How y'all doing?
Damian, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Oh, yes,
We
you're
hear you
good.
good.
Okay,
And
perfect.
Damian, I'm glad that you were able to jump on. I know that you're busy, and we're pulling you from somewhere else. But you are very interested in changing the trajectory of a lot of people in our community
Yeah.
that have been overlooked, that has been placed on the back burner. Tell me some of the things that one particular event that you've got coming up that ties right into that.
Okay, let's talk about the piece pop up in a minute. However, Krista, I've been on the wrong link for the better part of 40 minutes.
I know.
Yeah, so I've been so that was on me. I've been in the car, I've been in the room, I've been everywhere for the better
Oh,
part
I'm
of 40 minutes.
sorry.
No,
Well,
no, no,
well,
no,
you know
no,
what?
it's
I'm
fine.
glad that you got on.
But I got to listen though. So I got a question too, because what you guys
Yes.
were talking about. I have a child at KIP.
Yes.
And today actually had a meeting because the STAR test, right, is happening
Yeah.
this time. They've been preparing, and my child is going to Saturday school.
Yeah.
And like I'm a little bit, it's too much, kind of what I'm thinking. So I
Right.
talked to them today, and what I talked about was they was like, well, your child is, we want her to be on this level, which is the highest level, because every year she's been on the highest level.
Right.
But something's happened recently, right, where she's not meeting that level. But the
Right.
previous level, she was there.
Yeah.
So the question that I asked was, is all the other children held to this standard?
Yeah.
With this particular, because they were saying she's on the highest level, and they want her to test out on the highest level, and right now she's not tracking that.
And
Go ahead.
yeah, go ahead, Damien.
My question was, is it because of your the money, the funds? Is it because that she's gonna drive up the score of your school, and the pressure that's on this, my 10-year-old child, man? Like I'm
That's
hot
pressure.
about Saturday school.
That's
Yeah,
a lot of pressure.
yeah. So is that something about? I know the STAR test goes to everybody, but with the private schools, like it's the KIP charter school, right?
Yeah,
No,
KIP is the
charter.
charter school.
Charter
So
school.
private schools don't take STAR.
Okay.
Yeah. They can elect. They can elect to take it. They can elect.
No, but most private schools don't take STAR. They don't. It's just not. STAR is only mandated.
It's only mandated.
It's only mandated for.
I know a couple that do take it. That do take it. They can elect to take it though. Some of them don't.
But for the most part, they don't.
Now to speak to your particular question, everything you said, I would say yes to.
Yeah.
Okay, because those schools are ranked, and they get their money based on performance of the students in the school. And the thing about it is, Damien, we have to be sensitive. Rebecca speaks a lot always to socio emotional learning.
Yeah.
And when kids are, your daughter would be considered a an adolescent, a pre-adolescent. Okay, she's getting ready to go into her preteen years, and kids go through a lot of physical and emotional changes then, and you can have a fluctuation. It doesn't mean that their intelligence is changing. It means that hormones and lots of things affect the way that they can perform on a test.
And then Damien too, on that note, because I taught GT for the better part of 3-4 years, GT is gifted and talented.
Yeah.
I've sat in numerous parent conferences, just like the one you sat in, with principals and other teachers saying they need to be on this level, they need to be on this level.
And putting pressure on those kids.
And that's what I was going to say. And what I found to be true when I've talked to the child away from the parent, when I've talked to the child away from the teachers and administration,
Right.
they tell me flat out that they have anxiety
About these tests.
Right.
That's right.
And you would think a 12-year-old child should not be having anxiety.
They should be having fun.
Right.
Yeah.
They have anxiety about this test. And they are so anxious to the point that some of them are on medication.
Yes.
I've had several of my GC babies on medication because of the anxiety, because they were being pushed.
Yeah.
And somehow they equated STAR to college in the 7th grade. And I'm just like, whoa, stop. You jumping all over the place. But that's how they feel.
Right.
Because it's been kind of ingrained in them. Hey, if you don't do well on this test, that means you're not going to do well in high school. And if you don't do well
make it into the best colleges,
you're not going to make it into the best colleges. And there is no equability between STAR and going to the best colleges. A lot of kids, believe it or not, who have done well on STAR, elected not to go to college.
Exactly. That's true.
And that's not even discussed.
Yeah. But you know what, Damien, you're gonna have to jump on with us again when we are having, especially, I didn't know that you had a school age daughter, but especially when we're talking about these vouchers and about school choice and about the wishes of the public being ignored in whether or not this goes forward. We're insulted by the wishes of the public not being honored.
I listened to you guys a lot, but it was just something because it was so relevant. And I think it was meant because, again, I was on the wrong link. So I'm walking around listening to you guys. I got this, and I kind of just checked my email. I said, there's something else, man. But no, you guys educated very well tonight, and it was relevant because that happened today. And the other teacher was in the background. And before I get about to pop up, I let them know because I have a background. So I don't even apply to go do chaperone, right? Because of background, I don't want to take no background tests and do all this stuff.
Right.
And so I talked to them today, and I'm like, my daughter is 10. So she's been 6 or 7. When I teach a class, if she's there, I bring her up to teach a certain portion. We have this little thing that she does. So she's been in front of 30 people, right? Teaching.
Right.
Like at the Shrine of the Black Madonna in Austin and Fort Worth, like she has come up and done her part. And so when I said that today, they said, we can tell. One of the teachers said she can teach my curriculum. Sometimes she does.
Yes.
She checks the students, right? If the students are out of line. And then, so I was talking to one teacher, then the other teacher came at the end. She said, I echo everything. Like, she's a perfect child. She does this. But we need her to be mastery. We need her to get the
and then also too, a lot of these teachers' jobs are writing on tests. That's another thing of the public don't. A lot of the parents don't know. A lot of the public don't know. And a lot of these school districts, if they 2 things. One, a lot of these teachers get paid for performance.
Yes.
Okay. So what that means is they get an extra stipend, they get an extra check.
They do.
Because you have some schools that have a pay for performance. So
absolutely,
what your child does on STAR means extra money in their account. On the flip side of that, though, what your child does on STAR will also determine if a teacher will be eliminated from that position.
Okay.
But isn't it interesting and ironic that it doesn't determine whether or not the school gets more money?
Right.
Yeah.
So we can still have schools that are scratching and scrounging to make ends meet, even charter schools like KIPP, because that money is being held on to so much. Um, it's being used as a carrot to get what lawmakers want. But with that in mind, Damien, tell us what you got going
Yeah.
on.
Tomorrow we have the fourth Peace Pop Up. The first one
Wow.
of the year. Peace Pop Up stands for protecting our people, uplifting peace. It's a civic event of Cognitive Justice International. It is our civic engagement where we go to communities, underserved communities, communities with high areas of crime. We
Yes.
put on an event with the people from that area. We allow them to say who's performing, like most times who's cooking.
Right.
Our goal is to bring the resources. So we're like that hub that I have a lot of resource partners, right?
Yes.
And they don't know how to engage or get into some of these communities and often are afraid to get into some of these communities. So what we do is we send our guy Brian, who we send Brian out. Brian
Yes.
goes, investigates what are the needs of the community, what resources do they need.
Is that the same Brian that we met?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
bullshit.
yeah. It's that same Brian.
Okay.
Then he'll reach out to the rappers, local social media stars, and we get them to come out to the event. I do most of the resources. We have another partner, Tangi. Tangi gets a lot of the employment partners and a lot of
Wow.
coordination too. And then we bring the event. We coordinate the event. We coordinate with the partners. We're working to coordinate more this year with the actual community and have them on the calls beforehand and actually have them a part of the emails. I've been sending out emails for the last 3 weeks with the updating flyers. So I have a flyer and I have your information on there. Then somebody else will come. So
Yes.
HPD reached out. I was so
Wow.
surprised.
Wow.
HPD reached out. Let's update the flyer. Send the logo. Right. What are you going to do? What's your service? What do you want to do? Because we also want to connect these resource providers
Right.
uh, with employment. We have 150 cans of Narcan coming out tomorrow from Harris
Wow.
County Public Health. We have I don't know how many gun locks for safe storage coming out. Right. We have
Wow.
Moms Demand Action. We have Giffords. We have some of the CVI partners, which is CVI is Community Violence Intervention. They're coming from around Texas, and they're convening on Houston tomorrow to actually be a part of the Peace Pop Up. So the goal is to make sure that these communities have partners for the long term. Don't just come and
Yeah.
get your weekend numbers. Don't just come and get a little, extra credit or overtime.
Right.
Come out and learn about these communities that you say you want to serve,
Yes.
and get some sort of get the buy-in. I'm providing a way for you to get buy-in to these
Right.
communities instead of you just going out walking around talking to people aimlessly when you
Yeah.
can't get your deliverable. So let's all partner together, come together,
Yes.
and ultimately serve these communities in the best way that we can.
And now tell me this. I know it, sometimes it's too late for something, but sometimes maybe not. If someone wants to get involved, if they want to come out, if they want to look at this event and say, there could be a corporate sponsor who wants to get involved, who says, we've got dollars to put behind this event for the next time. First of all, how many times a year is the event held?
So last year there were 3.
Okay.
This year we are potentially in May going to Louisiana.
Wow.
They've asked us to come to Louisiana. So right now, scheduled is Fifth Ward next month.
Uh-huh.
I should have sent you that flyer, but we can come back and touch base on that.
Okay.
April 26th. I don't know what Baptist church we're at in Fifth Ward.
Okay.
Um, Crestmont Park, I think June or July.
Okay.
Tidwell Park, May. Still wait on a date. Hopeful for May 17th. Potentially Pearland May 31st, right?
Wow.
Then there are like 5 zip codes that one agency wants to come and they want us to go to every code every single month. We just scheduled Southwest Houston, maybe June. So we're looking at potentially 8. And then we may be down the road in Bay City sometime to talk to a city council person down there. So we're looking at 8 or 9. On
Wow.
books right now,
That's
like
Wow.
4.
awesome.
Yeah.
That is
Where are
awesome,
y'all
Damien.
tomorrow?
We are at Cloud Break Communities, right there on Main. Let me get the address. But we're right on Main tomorrow, 10 to 3. The address is 4640 Main Street. That's 4640 Main Street
Okay.
from 10 to 3. Cloud Break Communities guy has an excellent manager, excellent owner too, but the manager is Patricia. They have 3 different sites at that one particular place.
Okay.
So Cloud Break Communities, if you guys know, right there by the Metro bus station by the old Sears.
Yeah.
Initially, it was veterans. It was an old Days Inn, a Holiday Inn, or something like
Right.
that.
Right.
They transformed it and actually built on more to it. And it's now it's open like students from U of H stay there.
Wow.
There's a
I had no
professor.
idea.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's amazing. And their rent to stay in that particular area. Now it's a little it's some of the kids that say sometimes it can get a little sketchy, right?
Yeah.
Because those are unhoused people
Right.
ended up getting housing from like Search and other
Exactly.
homeless coalitions, right? And so
Right.
sometimes there's a lot of homeless and a lot of things that go on, but overall they have security
That's
and
great.
the like the initial what is it called? When you put your deposit, your initial deposit is
Right.
like three
The
hundred dollars,
application. Yeah.
and then rent is like $700 to $800, right?
Oh, that's
Wow.
not.
That's
That's
awesome.
good.
So
That's
it's for a lot of
awesome.
people to kind of get on their feet. So I trained them last year. I
Wow.
trained the staff because the staff was having some issues working with the population.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so that's one of my
Yeah.
things. So I came in and I worked with the staff initially on themselves. Like, okay, how do you see yourself? Because this
Yes.
population has been like this for 5 years. If somebody been homeless, they've been homeless for thousands of days, right?
That's right. That's
Yeah.
So
right.
now you're serving this person, and if they've been homeless for 10 years and they finally got it together, they got mental health issues for the last 15 years.
Right.
That's kind of who they are. Let's talk
Exactly.
about who you are first.
Right.
So I work with them. So I train their staff, and then we came up with the idea to hey, let's do it. And this was in December.
Wow.
So this conversation happened in December before the holidays, and
That's
tomorrow,
not long. You guys
yeah,
got it rolling fast.
yeah. And tomorrow we're actually starting, and this is our first one of the year, and we're expecting anywhere between 250 and 400 people. So I have 408 hot dogs. So it's free. So Rebecca, so I don't say like if you're not doing nothing, Chris, y'all not doing nothing. Come on out and walk
Well,
among
I
the
was
people.
gonna ask, is the public invited out?
Of course, that's what we want. Like the public is invited out every event, free food. First 100 people get T-shirts. We still pressing up T-shirts right now.
Wow.
And the goal is also to bring these agencies together.
Yes.
I was in another city recently, and they say we are resource rich but coordination poor,
Wow.
and that's Houston. We are resource rich, but we don't coordinate well. I coordinate well.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because I have a lot of people that have taught me, but I have a lot of people that really want to work together. So tomorrow
And
is for
Damien, you've got
everybody to come
so
out.
many resources.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so
But
many people.
and it's me, but it's also over time, right? I had to tell somebody last
Absolutely.
night what you see now was 6 years ago. Like they say, you see the glory, but you don't know the story. What's
That's
happening
right.
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
was like this has been going on for 6, 7, 8 years. And so what you see now is just like everybody finally coming together, and
Yes.
man, it's amazing.
Well, Damien, we don't have to tell you this. Every time you come on, we know your story.
Yes,
And we like to have you on because you were what we consider a real success story.
Yes.
And you put your shoes on and never look back. And the great thing about you is that you insist on bringing other people forward with you.
mandatory.
And
mandatory.
that is and that is what's so
I
important.
love how you say mandatory.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
So a
absolutely
guy,
right.
and I may have to stand up because I got to show y'all something. But
Okay.
a guy, he was, and I like to say the name. I said I wasn't gonna name drop this year. I name drop all the time, right? There's this guy named Tommy Dorsett. He was the director of Caravans Prison, right? I think
Uh-huh.
Chris, you know about Caravans, right? So
Yes,
Caravans
yes,
Prison. So Tommy
yes.
Dorsett, man, he did a lot for a lot of the fellows that was incarcerated. And he called me not too long ago, and he said, Damon, he said, I need a you.
Right.
I need somebody like you to basically run the organization. He knew
Okay.
that I was busy, so I didn't have time. And I asked him like, hey, how much it costs, man? Let's see
Yeah.
if it work. Hey, but it wasn't working right. Numbers weren't right. But this is my guy, man. This is like, a person that I've seen do so much for people. So it was it was saddening to me that I didn't have anybody in the pipeline because you trusted me enough to call me and say I need somebody that does the work that you do, that can maneuver like you can maneuver, that
Yeah.
understand these systems, and I didn't have anybody. And I referred somebody to them, and I know that they were busy as well.
Right.
But it's like that's that's a indictment against me because if this person can call me and say that there's somebody else that really believes that I can bring somebody to the table that can be able to help the organization. So that's
Yeah.
why it's mandatory. I think I'm being more intentional this
Yes.
year on like recruiting people and making those things happen.
Yes. Yes. Well, show us what you're going to show us, Damien. What are
Okay,
you
let
going to
me get
show
up.
us?
I'm gonna come right back and show you.
Okay, I'm excited now. I want to see it. I love that sign. His logo back there. I love that logo. Yes. Rebecca, my allergies.
Very much so. We're gonna have to restock that water for me.
Not just that, but it just started
Here
when I
I
got
come.
home.
Here I come.
Okay, let's see what you got.
Okay. I got my screen thing on. I'm in a room. Let me close this door and then I will
You
open
have
up.
to look like a book in your hand.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
we
so
can't see
good.
it. We can't see it. Pull it
Okay.
back
Let
a
me
little bit.
let
There
me
we
go on
go.
this side.
I still
Hold
can't
on. You
get the
see it?
title.
Yeah, back up a little bit.
Let me go on this side so I can take the screen off.
Okay, right there, right there. Tell us about it.
Empowering Underserved Communities is a book that Damien Jadon Walker wrote. It is now on Amazon. I
Okay.
have copies and we will be able to sell copies tomorrow at
Awesome.
Cloud Break Communities. And I'm trying to take it off so you because I want you guys to how do I
That
get
is
this thing?
awesome. You're gonna have to come on and tell us about it, Damien.
I will,
You're gonna
you
have
know
to
I
come on and
will.
tell us about that book.
You know I will. But this is right here is
Wow.
can you see this portion right here?
Yes, I can see some people. Yeah. What is
Uh
that a picture of?
no, right here. Read this. Can y'all read that?
It's small.
And it's
Forward.
blurry.
Forward by Jeffrey Peck. You know who Jeffrey Peck is?
No, tell us, Damien.
The great grandson of W.E.B. Du Bois.
Wow.
So he wrote the foreword to the
How
book.
in the world? That is amazing.
He
Yes, I was
graduated.
at his great grandfather's house in 2005 in Ghana
Yeah.
when I
Okay.
did a study abroad.
We're
That
supposed
is
to go to
awesome.
Ghana in August. So he wrote the foreword to the book. He actually graduated from Forsbrook.
Wow.
Yeah. So
What?
yeah, he graduated from Forsbrook.
That is awesome.
Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
He's retired. And so we are donating 5% of all proceeds to the W.E.B. Du Bois Legacy Foundation.
I love it, Damien.
Oh, I wish we could get him on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll come. We can get him on.
That is
Yes.
awesome.
Oh my God, the
That
voice
is
is one of
awesome.
my heroes.
So Damien, this is what I want you to do. Is
Yes.
there any way that you could post? We're gonna get you to post post your a flyer if you have a flyer for tomorrow,
Okay.
and at least if not a flyer, if you don't have a flyer, at least give us the times and the place so we can have that in our comments.
Okay, I'm on another computer. I can
It,
send it to you. I don't know if you. I
yes.
did send it to you. Matter of fact, look at your in your it's in your text messages.
Okay,
It's in
okay.
your text
I'll make
messages.
sure that I pull it out and get that posted in our comments. And will people be, if people want to, like I said, connect, will you be on site tomorrow?
I will be there early and I will be there late. We will be having a great time. Free food. We have some music. We have artists coming all the way from Louisiana.
Wow.
We have another artist that we're really excited to hear about, Travis. He's on. He'll be at the book sign. I got a book sign at TSU April 9th. So he's going to be one of the guests of the book sign, and I'll be talking with him. Travis is currently paraplegic in a wheelchair.
Yes.
Him and his mom moved from Louisiana. That's what we're going to do the peace pop up at in
Right.
Louisiana, and not Via Platte, but Abneyville. So that's
Yes.
where he wants to come right by Lafayette. He has a song with Bun B and him and his partner from Abneyville who got shot not too long ago will be coming down. So we have some survivors of violence.
Wow.
We'll be there tomorrow. Our actual cook, who is from CUNY Homes and still is a resident of CUNY Homes, he was a victim of gun violence as well.
Wow.
So we are here to support the victims of gun violence. We're here to support the community. We
Right.
also know that people who made decisions before being a part of violence, they have been victims as well, sometimes by the
Yes.
systems.
Right.
But we want to bring everybody together and say that public safety, community safety is indigenous to your neighborhood, indigenous to your community, meaning that
And
you design it, not us.
and tell me if I'm wrong about this, Damien. You correct me if I'm wrong.
Mhm.
But a lot of times people will think, well, if it's not in my neighborhood, it doesn't affect me. But let me say this to you. If there are people who are disenfranchised and
Mhm.
angry and do not feel and feel that they are not getting a fair shake, and they are, and many times they may not be, and they are reaching out trying to get the things that they need to survive, it may become your problem.
Mhm.
So it
Not
affects
it may.
everyone.
It
Yes,
will be
It
your
that's
is.
problem.
It
right.
is.
So it's everyone, it's in everyone's best interest to promote peace.
Yeah. And I learned, I think got hammered home to me today. Um, it doesn't matter about the solutions that we talk about. It matters about the solutions that we implement. So
Absolutely.
so let's work on implementing solutions, and we can talk about them and work towards them. But let's be intentional, man, because people are dying. We're trying to,
Right.
save people's lives, and we are trying to be proactive. There's a three part. I've learned this 3 years ago. There's a three-part way to promote public safety. One is immediate, that's intervention. One is 3 to 5 years, that's
Right.
prevention. And one is 5 to 10 years, and that's transformation, right?
Right.
So transformation is what's going on in third ward, right? They're
That's right.
transforming the community, and the term is transformation through environmental design or public safety through environmental design, right? So
Wow.
let's add some lights, right? Let's put some nice gardens out here, and maybe people feel
Yes.
proud about their area, and those things happen. Then you have the prevention. Prevention is usually a 3 to 5 year process. Let's invest in these kids, and let's make sure that these kids, understand that they're all worthy. And that's good as well. But I work more so in intervention and immediate. Intervention is can be 3 to 6 months, right?
Right.
3 months to a year, because we're dealing with the highest risk population to commit gun violence or have gun violence committed against them. So at any given time,
Right.
they could be the victim or they could be the perpetrator, right? So just like what Rebecca said, it's going to become your problem. So let's
Yeah.
work on wherever we're at in this ecosystem. Let's work, but let's work together. Let's be intentional and let's coordinate as
Right.
best as possible. Because if not, we're going to continue to lose 15-year-olds. But the 15-year-old is lost at 22.
Right.
We could have caught him at
Right.
15, but since we didn't, now we got to deal with a 22-year-old. And
Yes.
how do you take the gun out of his hand? How do you take the crack out of his hand or her hand, right?
That's right. That's a different story.
It's a different story. So
That's
let's
right.
all work together. So that's the ultimate goal.
Well,
Awesome.
I definitely want to get Mr. Peck on the show. I am, Crystal will tell you, I am a history girl to my
Mhm.
soul.
Yes.
And W.E.B. Du Bois has always been one of my favorites. Even though he was very controversial, he was still one of my favorite historical heroes. So I would love to interview his. Oh man, that would be so awesome. I would love to. We would love to interview his grandson.
You can learn a little bit about in this book right here.
There you go. There you go. And
So I
that
sent you
will
the
be.
link,
And
Crystal.
how much is the book, Damien?
So in person it's 20, on Amazon it's 15.
Okay.
So we
Can
will
I get the
have
book
some.
on Audible?
Oh, is
I
it
haven't done the Audible yet. That has the Kindle version.
okay?
Okay.
So we haven't done Audible yet. I'm trying to see who I'm going to get to do it and what's the purpose. I met a young brother who that's what they do. I was like, you do audio? I'm surprised. Like here I go judging. I met
Yeah.
a brother. I mean, man, a brother. I was like, wait, is this what you do? He's like, this is what I do. So I got his number.
Wow.
So we're supposed to catch up. But he
Yeah.
actually
Yeah, because I read a
transforms.
lot of books. I most of 100% of the books that I read now, because
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
have time to just sit and actually
And
read.
flip the
Okay.
pages.
Yeah, I listen to about 5 to 6 Audible books a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and it works.
So we'll get it. We are working on it. We got the ISBN for it, so we will get that done.
Well, that is awesome. Damien Jadon Walker, thank you so much. You always tell us, you always pronounce out my whole name. You say our whole name. That's like people say your name when you're in trouble, huh?
Yeah.
My mother calls me my full name when I'm in trouble. But no, we're so proud of you, Damien.
Thank
We
you.
we want people to look at you and know and see that they can be where you are,
Okay. I
and that they
appreciate
can
that.
bring others along too. And we're going to make sure that the address of the event tomorrow, the Peace Pop Up, is posted in our comments, and the time. Say the time again.
10 to 3, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Okay, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And what's the name of the park?
Cloud Break Communities, right there on Main, 4640 Main. I think I said a while ago. So it's
Cloud
right.
Break Communities.
Cloud Break Communities. Yeah, you'll see us converging tomorrow.
Okay, very
Okay.
good. Well, thank you so much, Damien, for coming on. We got to get you on to talk about that book. And whenever we get you on to talk about that book, I'm going to make you tell your story.
Let's make it happen.
And yeah, we can get him in W.E.B. Du Bois' grandson. I'm sorry. No, seriously, we need to get him on the show. I'm not.
He's coming. I'll
Anyway,
make
but
sure I connect y'all.
thank you so much, Damien. And we will try to make sure we get out there to see you tomorrow. We'll try to take some pictures too.
Perfect. Let's make it happen.
Okay, thanks so much now.
Okay, guys.
Okay. Well, Rebecca, it was good to see Damien again. We haven't seen him in 3 or 4 months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
And he's always connecting with some very, very worthy and worthwhile entities.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's about bringing people along and seeing the potential in what people could be, not seeing the past of what they were.
Exactly.
Yes, but Rebecca, we've been on here almost an hour and a half. Oh my goodness, we gotta get out of here. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for giving us your time and listening, especially to what we have to say about these vouchers. We will be back next week, and we're going to be talking about 5 more misconceptions that are out there about what these vouchers actually are.
Yes.
If nothing else, we're going to pull the curtain back so that anything that you've been told, you will have plenty of ammunition to ask those important questions about.
Yes.
Because don't allow yourself to be sold a bill of goods. That's all that we're saying. And that's regardless of the party that you're with. We've got great people who are standing with us in this fight against vouchers on both sides of the aisle. Great people on both sides. And we want to make sure we get this done. We believe in grassroots efforts.
Of course we
We
do.
believe in grassroots
Of course
efforts.
we do.
And every teacher in Texas, for the most part, is standing with us. And if you stand with us against these vouchers, please know that you are standing with the teachers also.
Right.
Yes. Rebecca, you got any extra things that we got to say before we come out? Anything coming up? Oh, what about the parade, the art car parade? I know Melissa and her team will be coming on.
Yeah,
to talk about the
parade. You might see some familiar faces at the art car parade.
Yes, you may. Yes, you may. We may actually see some familiar faces.
Once again, as we close out, I just want to say on behalf of Crystal and I, thank you guys for watching the show.
Yes.
Thank you for running the numbers up.
And share the podcast.
And thank you for sharing the podcast.
Yes.
Crystal is branding and rebranding. And I am just so honored to be on this journey with her.
Ooh, both of us. Both of us. Likewise, Rebecca. Likewise.
So y'all keep supporting her, keep her encouraged, and the best way to keep her encouraged is to keep watching the podcast
and keep sharing.
And keep sharing.
Yes.
Running the numbers up.
Yes.
So we just thank everybody who tunes in, and I'm just amazed at the feedback we get. And I'm just so proud of Crystal because I remember 4 years ago this August.
4 years ago, I'm asking, what is a podcast?
She was so nervous about doing one, and she was so
what it was.
It's true. But once she got in her flow, she got in her flow. So yes, our 4-year birthday is coming up soon.
Yes,
we might do a little something. Me and Crystal will talk about it, but. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your support, and keep supporting our girl.
And as we say every week, Rebecca, we can do it.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.